Welcome everyone to this podcast where we explore the world's most important cryptocurrencies. Not just the tickers and prices, but the real stories behind the technology. We look at how these projects were born, how they work, what they unlock, and why they matter for the future of finance, governance, and the internet itself. Today we begin where it all started, with Bitcoin. Bitcoin, you've heard the name. But do you really know what it is? Maybe you've seen the headlines or you've heard a friend say, I should have bought some back in 2013. Maybe you've even bought a little yourself. But Bitcoin is more than a price chart. It's more than an investment. It's a movement and an invention that might be as important as the internet. So today, we're not just going to talk about how Bitcoin works. We'll go back to its origin story, understand what makes it different, look at where it is today, and where it could be by the end of the decade. Let's dig into the roots of this digital revolution. How it all began. A ghost, a crisis, and a white paper. The story of Bitcoin starts in 2008. The world was in chaos. Lehman Brothers had just collapsed. Banks were being bailed out. People were losing their homes, their jobs, their trust. And in the middle of that storm came a message. A 9-page white paper published by someone, or some group, calling themselves Satoshi Nakamoto. The title was simple: Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. The idea: money that doesn't require a bank. A payment system where two people, anywhere in the world, could send value to each other. Directly, securely, and without needing permission. On January 3, 2009, Satoshi launched the Bitcoin network. The first block of the blockchain, called the Genesis block, included a hidden message. It said, the Times 3rd January 2009 Chancellor on brink of second bailout for banks. That wasn't random. It was a statement, a rejection of the system as it stood. So how does it work? Bitcoin is built on a public ledger, a blockchain, that records every transaction ever made. This ledger isn't stored on one server or one company's database. It's shared across thousands of machines around the world. Every 10 minutes, these machines, known as miners, compete to solve a mathematical puzzle. The winner adds a new block to the chain and earns a reward in Bitcoin. This process is called proof of work. It's what secures the network and makes it nearly impossible to tamper with. The rules of Bitcoin are set in stone. The supply is capped at 21 million coins. No one can print more. No central bank can step in and stimulate the system. And there are no CEOs, no headquarters, no off switch. What does this enable? Bitcoin allows people to store and transfer value without going through banks or intermediaries. It works in places where the local currency collapses, like Venezuela, Lebanon, or Argentina. It works during wars when borders close and sanctions hit. It works for activists, journalists, or anyone who might need censorship resistance. And for many, it's become the ultimate hedge, a form of digital gold for the internet age. Bitcoin doesn't promise yield. It doesn't promise features. It promises freedom and predictability. Let's talk about the token, BTC. BTC is the currency of the network. It's how miners are paid, it's how users pay fees, and it's scarce. With over 19.6 million already issued, there are less than 2 million coins left to be mined. Every 4 years, the amount of BTC rewarded to miners is cut in half. This event is called the halving. It happened in 2012, 2016, 2020, and again in April 2024. Each halving slows down the emission of new BTC, making it even scarcer over time. That's why people compare it to gold, but unlike gold, you can send Bitcoin anywhere, anytime, in seconds. Where do we stand today? As of mid-2025, over 45 million wallets hold Bitcoin. It's legal tender in El Salvador and the Central African Republic. BlackRock, Fidelity, and other major asset managers now offer Bitcoin exposure through ETFs. More than $1 trillion of value has passed through the network. And yet, despite all this progress, most people still don't understand it. But Bitcoin isn't perfect. Let's be honest. Bitcoin has its flaws, and it can be slow. Transactions take around 10 minutes to confirm. It can be expensive. During periods of congestion, fees spike. And it's not programmable, like you can't build apps or smart contracts directly on it like you can on Ethereum. It also consumes a lot of electricity. That's by design. Proof of work ensures security through energy. But it's controversial and not every government sees it as positive. And perhaps its biggest challenge? Adoption. Bitcoin is a brilliant invention, but for many it's still intimidating, confusing, or too volatile. What's new? In the last year, something unexpected happened. Ordinals. They allowed people to embed images, data, even memes, directly into Bitcoin transactions. Some called it graffiti. Others called it innovation. But it showed one thing. Even after 16 years, Bitcoin is still evolving. Also, Layer 2 solutions like the Lightning Network are gaining traction. They allow users to send Bitcoin instantly with almost zero fees. It's like a turbocharged version of Bitcoin, built on top but using the same security. What's next for Bitcoin? The roadmap isn't as flashy as Ethereum's, but the goals are just as ambitious. More privacy, better scalability, stronger decentralization, and perhaps most importantly, more resilience. Bitcoin's role isn't to do everything. Its role is to remain incorruptible, no matter who's in power, no matter what's happening in the world. So where could this go by 2030? If Bitcoin continues on its current path, we might see more nations holding it as a reserve, more people using it as personal savings, and more applications built around it, even if not on it directly. By 2030, Bitcoin may not be the blockchain with the most features, but it may be the one we trust the most. One final story to close. There's a legend in the Bitcoin community. It says that Satoshi Nakamoto, the mysterious creator, mined over 1.1 million BTC in the early days and never touched a single coin. Not one. Those wallets still sit there, untouched. And if anyone ever claimed to be Satoshi, the only way to prove it would be to move one of those coins. So far, no one has. Outro. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please follow, leave a review, and share it with someone curious about crypto. Next time, we'll explore another top project. Maybe Ethereum, Solana, or something newer. Until then, remember, Bitcoin isn't here to make you rich overnight. It's here to rewrite the rules.